Hello, everyone. I am Wingrove, Chief Marketing Officer for Aptitude 8.
And I am Noah Berk, co-CEO of Aptitude 8, and excited to have this conversation with you today.
All about AI, that's
All
right.
about AI.
Wouldn't miss it for the world. So it's kind of overwhelming is where I'm starting from, right? Especially when we talk about AI inside of HubSpot, because you've got agents, you've got assistants, you've got embedded AI features all through every hub, every tier, and it's a little hard to track, right? So I want to break that down for you guys today and start talking about how to think about solving problems leveraging AI inside of HubSpot.
Yeah, I would agree. I really think most people are more or less confused because it's all spread out. And honestly, if you're using HubSpot right now, you are using AI, whether you know it or not. There are certain capabilities that you just mentioned earlier, whether it's agents or assistants, that's truly leveraging what you would think is of AI versus AI working behind the scenes. But today we're going to talk about where you actually got to click the button to make AI work for you. Really a whole bunch of features and capabilities within HubSpot.
Right. So we've got the agents, they're going to work for you autonomously. They're going to go and do the work, right? Then you've got the assistants. They're like your little co-pilot, your right-hand person helping you be more efficient as you work. So they're working with you, not for you. And then you've got all, like I mentioned, all of the other embedded AI features, which are one-offs. But really the goal of this conversation is to try and help you bring all of that together to solve problems. Because I think the biggest part of AI entering the CRM space is that we have to change how we solve problems because the tools that we now have to solve problems are very different. And for me, it's reverse engineering, right? I think about like, okay, something is hurting me. I have pain. And if I want the pain to go away, what is the outcome I want? What does that look like if the pain is gone? What is the outcome? What is the impact of that? And then reverse engineer from there. So how do I build out an outcome leveraging different features all over HubSpot as they may be? But if you're focusing on the outcome, it's really just then building the steps to get there.
And, I talk to customers all the time. And I think one of the things they're talking about is like, well, I'm being asked to figure out how do I get the most out of AI? Or I'm being asked, how do I help improve my teams? And one of the challenges is really understanding what are the capabilities within inside this portal. And how do I really think about doing this AI transformation and making sure that my team is taking advantage of all the capabilities that are out there within AI. Before we even shift to doing it, it's a shift in mindset. It's a shift in saying, what is the art of the possible within your HubSpot portal?
And then let's take that actually a step further. The art of the possible for whom? We talked about this a lot internally and also with our friends over at HubSpot, but the audience here really matters, right? Because when you're an executive, a CEO or a CMO of a company, and what we're seeing across our customer base is we have to use AI. We need AI transformation in our organization. And we're going to start and we're going to do it. And it's great. And it's amazing. And we're going to do it today, right? What about the ops managers? What is their take, Noah?
I mean, they're all saying, well, what's in it for me right now? And
pump the brakes. Our data infrastructure is not equipped, is not ready to have AI, which by the way, is fully predicated on your data and your data structure. And ops managers are saying, hold on, I want to think this through and I want to understand the steps. And so we do have this sort of differing approach or the differing way of thinking about how AI can or could work for an organization.
I would agree with that. And especially you said it best, data. None of this works without actually having the data in place. None of this is going to make sense for you. So there's a lot of steps along the way before you're proficient at using AI within HubSpot. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today. And how do you go about actually thinking about taking advantage of it inside your HubSpot portal?
So step one, take a look at your data. Before you jump in, as much as I want to say, go straight for it and do something crazy, it really would be best. And the data quality tools inside of HubSpot are honestly wonderful. And those are available for every tier. And so if you can go in, see where are my duplicates, where is the incomplete data, maybe you need to enrich data. Think about AI. It's going to go through your CRM and it's going to try and make decisions or help you make decisions. And it's looking at the data. And if you don't have a complete picture, maybe there's an augmentation of your data and enrichment that needs to happen. So it's not just cleaning it up, but it's also kind of beefing it up as well.
Absolutely. I definitely think the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to AI and the biggest problems that people have right now is questions like, what can Breeze do? What can these agents do for me? And it really sounds logical. Hey, where do I begin? How do I use these tools? But they can lead you in the wrong direction if you come in from the angle. And we just spoke about how data is really the place to become, or really the place we should say that we start with. How do you suppose is the best way of going about diving into AI?
Like I said, step one, make sure that your data is equipped and ready and comprehensive, complete, right? But step two is start small. So pick one pain point, pick one outcome that you would like to solve for and see how that works, right? It's almost kind of treating it as a little bit of a pilot. But those pilots and what we're seeing with our customers is big, quick wins. So you don't have to build an entire AI infrastructure, an entire transformation of how you do your business. You can start with a quick win by like a sales to marketing handoff. One great example of something that we're using, that a bunch of our customers are using, is these AI powered briefs, right? Marketing to sales handoff. All of the information that happens, all of the call transcription. Do you really want to have properties inside of your CRM that house call transcription data? No, that's insane. That's going to muddy up your database. But if AI can leverage that data, not store it, right? You're not storing
Yeah.
it. It can then break it down, create a summary. It's not just call transcripts, it's also all the deal notes that the sales rep has been taking all along the way, the different contact roles, all the different people that are associated to that one deal. Take all of that and distill it into a brief that then can be handed off to your services team or to your product team.
And I think one of the things in order to get really adoption is you got to ask what's in it for you or what's in it for your team. And one of the things is really that prospecting agent. We'll go into a little bit more and you'll see some more demos of what that can do for you. And we talk to clients all the time. That's one of your quick wins. If you had to pick one thing out there and be able to show your sales team how to use a prospecting agent, I think you're going to start getting the adoption, not just from that sales team, but from executives in general who are excited about it. So yes, we talked about data first. Then we talked about, hey, finding a quick win that you're able to do. And then finally being able to leverage something like a tool that you're able to say, look what it's done for me now. Another one, a really great example is a customer agent, be able to handle queries and handle the responses. So it all depends upon the business that you're in. You're going to be able to start seeing some benefit here, but just get one example to win with, and you're going to start noticing a snowball effect of more wins as they come down the
And
pipe.
once you can prove that impact, then you're really cooking with gas, I think is the saying.
I think so. That's a really great.
It feels like
Yeah.
we've poured a bunch of gas into our CRM because we're lighting fire all across our departments. So we're using AI for sales, we're using AI for marketing, we're using AI for delivery, we're using AI for our internal operations. And so I think that's another probably big piece of advice is try to figure out how AI works for you internally before you go external as well. So that's something that Noah led a great charge on in our organization is let's start creating a culture of AI first, then the data, then the small wins.
You mentioned something really important there. If your leadership's not bought in, it's very hard to push this forward. I mean, ever since AI came out, I've been leading the charge, making sure it happens because I understand the impact upon the organization. None of this is magical. This is really operations work when you think about it. So when you focus on the tangible, that's when you start winning when it comes to AI. AI is not a magic button where you can just simply turn it on and expect results. Now, of course, we would all love that to be the case, but it's not. Talk to me through why is it not a magic button?
Oh, I wish it were magic. It feels sometimes close to magic, but ultimately, like magic isn't real, unfortunately. And so, no matter what you're doing with AI, it's going to require some oversight. It's going to require some auditing over time. And it's just going to require cross-departmental collaboration to make sure that it's one built the way that it's going to meet your business requirements and that it's operating in a way that you expect it to operate. So it does require some oversight. I wouldn't say full blind trust.
Yeah. And what's the damage with having that type of mindset and thinking is that you're going to try something once and you're going to say, well, it didn't work the way I thought it would because I thought I hit this button and all of a sudden it starts magically bringing me in leads, which would be fantastic. But there is prep work behind the scenes. And it's because we talked about earlier on, the inputs matter, the data matters. So if you do not have clean data, if you do not have a clean system, if you do not have goals that are truly tangible, that are attainable, it's not going to work for you. And that's really where the foundation is the difference, is when you have that mindset of, hey, this is going to take time. It will take experimentation. We have to clean the data in order to make sure that we're leveraging AI to the fullest. I think those are the companies who will see the most results.
I would say one important call out here too is it's not just the data that's in your CRM. So imagine you want to build an assistant or an agent that's going to handle new hire onboarding. If you don't have a solid documentation for your new hire onboarding process, you can't use that to load up the knowledge vault inside of HubSpot to then power and inform that agent or assistant. So it's not just what's in your CRM, it's also your own business processes and having those documented so that you can really fill those vaults.
Agreed. So it's not simply a replacement for process, it's a enhancement of whatever process you have right now. We talked a lot about just AI in general. So what's the difference between agents and assistants? Because every time I hear it, I'm like, aren't they the same thing? Now, of course, I know they're different, but for the purpose of this audience, I would love for you, Em,
So
to share.
for an assistant, it's going to work next to you, right? It's going to work alongside you. Think about when you use Claude or ChatGPT or these large language models and you can ask it whatever questions. An assistant inside of HubSpot is going to be just that. It's going to pop open on the right side of your screen. You're going to click the assistance button and then you'll have a big chat window. Well, that assistant is getting its answers from all over the web if you set it up that way, but it's also going to get them from inside of your CRM. It's also going to get them from the knowledge vaults that you arm it with. So the assistant is really just like your GPT or your Claude or your Gemini plus, right? Plus all of the information that you're arming it with that's specific to you, your business, and what's inside of your CRM. And the great part about that, if you're worried about security compliance, is it's not learning from it and training and taking that out to the rest of the world. That is specific to you and your HubSpot portal.
Okay, so that makes sense. So assistants are more about like helping you in the moment. Maybe there's a query, you have some information you need to gather, or you're curious about what the deal status is, and you're saying, hey, just give me a summary of what this is. That's very much an assistant. But what about an agent? Because you hire an agent to do something for you.
So my favorite example, we talked about prospecting agent and the customer agent, but my favorite agent is going to be the data agent. So inside of like data sets, for example, I can say, I want to look across multiple objects. I want to pull in different data sources that, by the way, I'm not, again, not storing in my CRM, but I'm just looking at and accessing. What if I want to make a column in a table in one of these data sets that's going to go and do research? I want to find companies that are showing signs of growth, whether they're, number of roles that they're hiring for, press releases that are going out onto the web, number of like C-suite that they're hiring. Go research all of these companies for me and tell me which ones are showing signs of growth. I'm not doing that research. The agent's doing the research, right? And it's arming me with the information that it's gone and found for me. And that's just one quick example of research. It can do so much more with these data agent columns.
Yeah, so I think agents really come down to they're doing something for you, but also they're going to require more work than an assistant. So if you're thinking about a place to get started, assistants are more forgiving because you're more or less querying information and asking it to summarize, to think through, to help you identify something versus agents that are actually going out and doing something for you, which requires more setup, generally requires more accurate data. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have bad data in your system, your assistant's going to come back with bad information for you as well. So generally you get value faster if you start with assistants than if you start with agents. One of the most fun areas is the handoff. And also one of the biggest pain points organizations have is what is a marketing to sales handoff? What is this use case like? And how can companies really take advantage of it?
So a marketing to sales handoff is kind of involved, right? So marketing is going and spending money and investing and trying to bring things inbound and sometimes even doing outbound, right? And they're bringing things into the organization and then they have to hand them over to sales. Well, marketing maybe touch those people 7 different times digitally across their journey. Does the sales rep know about all of those different touches, or they're going to have to dig into their activity feed to see, no, you don't have to do all that. Those are just the touches, right? What about the webinars that they attended? What about the questions that they've asked? What about enriching that data, that contact data, with more than what you had originally so that the sales rep can have a more personalized outreach? Speaking of outreach, what if you draft the outreach for them, right? Using an agent to draft that first email or a series of emails. And that's getting into sort of the prospecting agent a bit there, but that's just a piece of it.
The win here is when you have that information easily accessible and reps are showing up with the right context for that particular opportunity. And it's not like this is simple stuff to do in the sense of, hey, every marketing person, you have to share this information with your sales rep. These are things that simply take time that AI is able to take off your plate at this point and make you more efficient as an organization, and also make your sales reps more excited about working with marketing.
Well, not all these are created equal either. You mentioned the AI attribution. That's something that we have set up in our own internal HubSpot portal where, you may ask someone on your intake form, how did you hear about us? That's how the person identifies with how they've believe that they heard about you, but there's also other things that you did along the way that maybe they're not remembering, right? And so we have a workflow extension, AI workflow extension inside of a workflow, our attribution workflow. And it says, let's look at what they said in terms of
Yeah.
how did you hear about us? Let's look at the originating source. Let's look at the converting source, that last touch, first touch, last touch. And then we created rules and logic inside of a prompt that was very easy to write. I am not a coder. I wrote it very easily. My team and I built it in about half of a day. And so then you can prioritize all your different sources and say, well, this rep has a really great close rate with this source. Let's route it to that rep because it's going to give him the best opportunity, him or her, the best opportunity of closing that deal. So then you're qualifying faster and giving a better opportunity to close it faster.
That's when AI is actually helping your teams operate better. How do companies get started with AI? Like, what do you do next?
What not to do is boil the ocean, right? Start small. Don't bite off more than you can chew because then you may not win the buy-in of your leadership team if you try and fail by trying to do all of the things at once. So definitely start small, but small enough that you can get a quick win. You have to be able to show some impact to not only your higher ups, but also your laterals, your team members, because you got to get everybody excited. AI isn't an individual person can just run this motion inside of an organization. It really is cultural.
Another thing that you want to think as an organization is, are you ready for AI? What does it require? So first, just taking a moment to audit all the capabilities within HubSpot itself, understand kind of what those AI features and capabilities are. You're able to either go research it directly in HubSpot. Also keep in mind, HubSpot's constantly releasing new product updates. If you go to the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you're actually able to click down and see what product updates have come out. Take a look, start browsing through them. HubSpot's done a great job saying what it is, what you were trying to do, how it's going to help your organization achieve its goals. That's a great place to start. And it's really the audit part of this AI. So when you think of it, I would say one is your data set up in a way that it's clean, it's ready to go. Two, do you have your processes built out and you understand what you want to accomplish as an organization? And now you're just looking to say, hey, AI, how can we make this work better for us? And then lastly, what are our goals and what are we trying to accomplish as an organization? If you have those four things, you are set up for success. And that's why these AI transformations really start there to ensure success. But what else you've seen a lot? What else would you add to that?
So I would say the features are important, right? Going through the updates and trying to understand what exists and where it lives inside of the portal. But I think from there, you really have to shift into what is the pain point and what is the outcome that I seek. And then you can go back and say, okay, these 6 features are going to map to the right outcome for me. And then just forget about the rest for right now, right? Contain your first pilot to one outcome in one sort of area of your business.
So in other words, be intentional.
Be intentional.
Be intentional, I think, is a key phrase throughout all of this. And really, as you mentioned earlier, we mentioned throughout this, make sure you have that really good AI use case win story early on, because that's going to lead to more win stories. And the goal here is a little bit of experimentation, but also it's thinking it from an operational perspective. How can we simply be more efficient?
And operations span your entire business. So it really is a full team effort.
If you're interested in learning more about AI transformation, please feel free to reach out to us at Aptitude 8. We're doing these AI transformations. It is so cool what we've been able to do for our clients and what we're doing for them, helping you make sure you have everything we talked about in order from structure and identifying where those opportunities are, and helping you guys make that leap into an AI-first organization, AI-first company.
Listen, if you're interested in AI, come talk to Aptitude 8. You can talk to Noah or myself. We're active on LinkedIn. You can go to aptitude8.com. Look, we talk to HubSpot pretty much every day of our lives.
Every day.
Deep with the product team. So we're very, very comfortable with these tools and we're ready to help. So reach out.